Well, hi, I'm David Comer. I'm the chaplain here and spiritual director at here at Fairhaven in Birmingham. Uh, Today, as we do this, it's Maundy, Thursday. It's a day that Christians generally observe communion in some form and community service, or perhaps even a feet washing as a spiritual discipline and a way to serve others. But for many people of faith, we are finding different ways to worship and to be in community, probably where you are, and certainly here at Fairhaven. At the end of our session, we'll be taking questions, and you can put your questions in the chat box on the Zoom screen. I don't know if it's over here, or over there, because but if you're having trouble finding the chat box, which I did, and that's a challenge, then instead you can call Ardell, who is sitting here in the study with us. And Ardell has, like me, I like the old school phone number. And Ardell's phone number is 703 863 1359. 703 863 1359. So to give you a little background, among the many resources here at Fairhaven, we have a full-time chaplain and spiritual director, but we also have a dedicated chapel that is the chapel. It's not the lunchroom or the employee break room. And it usually has a seating capacity of about 85, but currently we're still observing the recommended 6-foot rule since we began worship again All Saints Sunday. And so now we have seating for about 25 to 30, and we have 2 services because we're observing the 6-foot rule. And for us, United Methodist guidelines of do no harm. The chapel is open 24 hours a day for anyone who wants to go in there to meditate or pray or listen to music or do some soul searching. Because as we age, I'm 64 and a half. And as I'm aging, and you are probably aging, we think about all that we have seen and all that we see today. And soul searching is a much needed practice. If we don't, we'll go crazy. And sometimes people in their soul searching get stuck in finding meaning, or stuck of finding value or worth in what's the point of getting older? And lately, some of us have had a difficult time to find any happiness out of this pandemic year, find any meaning at it. Where are the blessings? They ask me. And that's a great question. What is the point of all this, and where are those blessings? Well, as your chaplain, I'd tell you the blessings are God's department, and we'll leave that to God to answer. But as a chaplain, or nearly anyone can help with, is to I would be with you, and I'm with people, the community here, in your struggle. Whether the answers come readily or not, just to be with you. As Anne Lamott says, we're all just walking each other home. We're not going to convert the whole world, but we can stay together and just walk each other home. And today, in this kind of convergence of Passover, because we have Jewish people here, and Christians, and for Holy Week, and this COVID pandemic, have left many of us kind of searching for new ways to cope. How do we celebrate, Passover? How do we celebrate Holy Week? And we're kind of searching for this cure to this emptiness that seems to sneak up on us. We can't do it like we did before. And it's kind of a heaviness. And so I don't know if it's like this for you, but for many of us here, this kind of emptiness is what we usually call grieving. And that sounds kind of surprising because most frequently, we grieve and when someone has died, a pet has died, or we have to move, we don't recognize it as grieving or mourning, but it is. And so I think that there's kind of this general despair, maybe where you live, there was here, along with this fatigue of, oh, is it getting better? Is the pandemic getting worse? When can we go? Can things be like the way they used to be? And there's sometimes our grief experiences spike, especially around these springtime and Easter and Passover. Um, and so it catches us unaware, and it could catch you unaware. It does me. And for some of us, at least here at Fairhaven, with that kind of grief that's kind of been isolated and contained, it's an incredible rage. And for some people, it's kind of a complete detachment, and for others, it's just a deep, personal, inward despair. And so, just like we tell people about grieving in general, how we're handling this pandemic here at Fairhaven, it looks different for different people. Um, and I think the impact of the COVID pandemic, it looks different for every person. And there are a lot of people around here. So, but seems right now, there was a little bit better now with the vaccine, but there's this kind of a general core of grief and fatigue and despair and a wishing this was over. Because we here at Fairhaven, we miss our family and our friends and the way it used to be. So we try to stay connected. We try to connect in new ways. We can't get together and sit beside our special friends in chapel or in the dining room, but we can find new ways to relate. And usually we relate right now 6 feet apart. Now, for some of us, that doesn't work because we can't hardly hear. We're hard of hearing enough. But it's a way to make it work, and we've learned how to speak up, and we've learned how to wear our hearing aids. It's just a way to adapt because this pandemic is not magically going to go away. So we know that we're realist enough to know that not everybody's going to find a silver lining in this cloud, this COVID dominated year, and we try to normalize that here and say, that's okay. If you don't find how this year has been a blessing, that would be all right. There may not be a silver lining this year. We may look back and think, holy heck, that was the hardest year I ever spent of my life. How did I ever get through it? So sometimes what happens here at Fairhaven, without divulging any confidences, is that people are just encouraged to find new ways to make some meaning out of it, even when it's a crappy year. And if you're someone that struggles to do that, you may find yourself in a kind of a position of judgment. Sometimes we have some residents here that do, because they were incapable of making meaning, or incapable of finding the silver lining. And so if you don't find a silver lining here, we say that then we just focus on the ways to get through the experiences and utilize the support that we do have. There's a great staff here that's available to you. And so we just try to thrive through Holy Week and Passover. And if you just survive it without even thriving, at least here at Fairhaven, that's okay. And so I don't know how it is with you there, but here traditionally in the middle of Holy Week, Passover, we're usually with family and friends, and now that there's vaccine out and some visitation restrictions are lifted, we kind of want to jump the gun sometimes, and we're not sure how we can be with family and what's safe, how to do no harm, but also how to do good, take care of others and ourselves. And so there's a lot to think about right now, a lot more options than there were 3 months ago. Now, some springtime celebrations here will not be possible. It's not possible with COVID going on. And so we encourage people to find new ways. Now, one of the challenges here has been we all need new lessons on how to operate our smartphone or how to operate Zoom. It's new technology to us. So if you're on today, oh, God bless you and congratulations. I had to have technicians help me get on here because I just don't know how, but it's part of finding the new way to do it. Um, and often he, as the chaplain and spiritual director here, people come to me a lot and want answers to their problems. Why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? But Rabbi Harold Kushner said one time at a Seattle conference, if you live long enough and care deeply enough about people, then it is inevitable that at some point in your life, you're going to experience pain and hurt and bewilderment. The Bible calls that the mystery of God, but it's sometimes bewilderment. And there's no magical scriptures to quote to make everything better. We don't do that here. To make the pandemic better, to make people better. We don't have a pill for that or a special prayer. There is no cure to make us ungrieving and then wonderfully happy. That's not the way God plans for us. We just feel what we're feeling. And if I hear one more time someone here, with some unhelpful platitude that, oh, God never sends us more than we can bear, I'm going to go nuts as their chaplain because I know they're trying to be helpful, but what they're saying is, well, then it's our fault. If we weren't so strong, God wouldn't send this to us. And that's just, for us here at Fairhaven, that's just kind of theological nonsense. Plus, it's not in the Bible. God given us more than we can bear. Temptation, that's another story, but bad things happening to us. And things have not been all gloom and doom here, this pandemic. Certainly, there have been things to grieve, and certainly there are things to be angry about. But one of the things we have practiced here at Fairhaven is to just name what we're feeling. It's like a great big therapy session, and everybody has permission to feel mad, sad, glad, hurt, or afraid, and just to name that without their adult children or their grandchildren looking on, just to say, I'm mad as heck and I'm not going to take it any longer. Well, they are going to take it longer because we have no choice. Or to say, I'm sad because so-and-so is sick, or I can't be with my family. And so we try to keep it simple like that, just to name our feelings. And usually the challenge is it's not just one feeling, but it's often two or three that are mixed up there together. We call that normal. And we do this conversationally. We do it privately. We confess these feelings with our staff. We do it in chapel in front of the Lord Almighty. And because grief is without a timeline and without these linear events, we just allow ourselves to feel these emotions here at Fairhaven. We try not to judge them. We just acknowledge them is work enough. And so we want to say, go with the flow as it arise. So if you stayed with me this long, I'll leave you with this. At least that I don't know how it is where you are, but hope you're doing well. And if you are mad, sad, glad, hurt, and afraid, or if you wonder how you're doing this pandemic in this challenging time, I hope you and your family are doing well with it. But just be on the lookout and stay tuned that during Easter or any holiday time or Passover, it can be kind of grief heavy. So don't let it sneak up on you. It's what we try to encourage here. And I hope that's your experience too. Again, Rabbi Harold Kushner quotes a 19th century Hasidic rabbi who said that, what are we going to do at this time? And the rabbi said, human beings are God's language, which means that God answers our cry, our prayers, our grief by coming to us through other humans through people, through doctors or Fairhaven staff or a chaplain, but usually probably from a neighbor or someone you know and love who will care for you, and to know that you're not alone. Often it takes a village to help us. Here at Fairhaven, we think it takes a community. So thanks for being part of our Fairhaven community today. And if there's any questions you have, if you give them to Ardell, you can't see her, but she's right over here. Do we have a question? Or?
Yes, we have our first question. And that question is, in the past year, David, how did you see God blessing Fairhaven?
So in the past year, how did I see God blessing Fairhaven? Oh, that's a good one. Well, I think of lots of things with that. The first is I stay up on the news sometimes, the good news, and I've seen how the administration and the care and staff at Fairhaven have taken care of the residents compared to other places that make the news. It's kind of a good thing for us to stay below the waterline, and that is just staying healthy, staying safe, taking care of people. Now we don't make the news doing that, but it's still good news.
Can you share an individual example without revealing any confidences or using any names? An individual example of how you witnessed God's goodness here at Fairhaven.
How we witness God's goodness here at Fairhaven. One of the things is because we had to have multiple worship services. We had to, and believe, if you're Methodist or Baptist, get ready for this because it's a shock. We had to do away with Sunday school, which for Baptists means do away with their Bible learning time. For Methodists, it means we gave up our coffee and donuts, but it was still just as shocking. But to give that up was a big deal. We couldn't do it in chapel because we had too many services and we had to have breakfast. So what someone did was come up with the idea, well, we'll just do it in our own neighborhood living room. And so a resident took it on, and a resident now leads Sunday school, and the Baptist and Methodist and everyone else is attending. But they took it on themselves, moved Sunday school out of the chapel to a neighborhood. In fact, on our independent living wing. And it's not on Sundays, it's Thursdays, but we didn't want to call it Thursdays, so we still call it Sunday school. So that's the way they've adapted. An old dog learn new tricks.
That's great. And we have a final question, which was, David, how would you describe a day in the life? Your daily routine or your daily variety of experiences in your life as our dear chaplain here at Fairhaven. Tell us about a day.
A day in the life. Well, it kind of depends on the day. My mom thinks I pray and save people all day and preach occasionally. That's her idea. What really happens is I usually get up in the mornings, and when I get here, I talk to our receptionist and the people who are screening us, because I did those screenings for a while, and it's and while it's a great way to meet people, it's cold or now it's hot. If it's a tornado, you still have to go out there and screen everybody and take their temperature. So I try to take care of the staff in that way, not our residents. Start with saying, how's your day and how you're doing? And then I go to the laundry room and we have a little interaction there about how they're doing. It's in the bowels of the earth, you would think, and they don't get a lot of attention. So I don't think. So I talk to them, come up here, turn on the music in the chapel, make sure the chapel people haven't moved chairs, because that sometimes happens here. It's an active place here at Fairhaven. And depending on the day, I go to the unit and try to, sometimes we have music in some units and sometimes we don't. And then we have smaller groups that meet depending on the day of the week. And then I'm on call all the time for all areas if someone is transitioning.
That's great, David. It's been fabulous. So, do you have a thought you would leave with us as we say goodbye?
A thought, just hang in there. Just hang in there, and I know it's Monday, Thursday. It's a day when Jesus decided to kind of retreat and team up with his disciples and say his final goodbyes. A very tender moment. I don't know if it was my last days on earth. I'm not sure that's what I would have done, but he did it. The Sunday school lesson today, as taught by our that fella that took over our Sunday school, was on the Lord's Prayer. And so I don't know if you pray with your eyes open or closed, or you bow your heads. Jesus did it both ways, seems sometimes, but and it wasn't a prayer always asking for my stuff. It was our stuff, and our deliverance from those things that are evil, not our feelings, but the things that are doing harm in the world right now, and for our daily bread. So may the Lord grant us our daily bread, and may the Lord keep you from harm and from evil, and both today and whether you're here, visit us here at Fairhaven or not. So thank you. Peace to you.